Free agency off to a big start with lots of money changing places.
Yeah, and the graphics you're going to show is certain guys getting it. I mean, do we have the Foles? There's the Foles, or is Foles up there yet? I don't have my.
Well, but
he's coming.
The one you had alluded to, Quan Alexander, 4 years, $54 million. That's a young linebacker signing with the 49ers.
Yeah, coming off an injury. So if that's setting your bar, then Mosley and Anthony Barr are going to be extremely wealthy young men.
And you look at 4 years, $66 million for Trent Brown, the tackle, as he goes from the Patriots to the Raiders. Raiders are spending some mad money already.
It's amazing to me, Dave, too, that Oakland or the Raiders is always a destination. Like, guys love to want to play for the Raiders, and yet the results haven't been there in recent years.
Here you see 6 years, $84 million for a safety. Not a free safety, an in-the-box safety in Landon Collins. Now the Lions have spent some money. 5-year deal with Trey Flowers. It's worth more than $16 million a year. They also signed Jesse James, tight end from the Steelers. So the Steelers are going to lose Le'Veon Bell, Jesse James, and Antonio Brown. Now the Jets agree to a deal with the slot receiver Jamison Crowder. 3 years, $28.5 million. Frank Gore signs.
Or Frank Gore, $2 million.
There is your Nick Foles deal.
Yeah, and from what I read, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, $50 million guaranteed for Foles. Now, we know Nick Foles is a Super Bowl MVP from 2 years ago, but I looked it up before the show. Nick Foles has played in 54 regular season games in the NFL.
It's $1 million every game he plays.
He just got $50 million guaranteed. Million.
$1 million every game he's played in.
And I think
it's good work if he can find it.
He's had a couple of really nice deals too, right? The Rams at least were one, and then the Eagles. So good for him. By all accounts, a great guy. But that's just silly. I mean, that's a silly number. $50 million guaranteed for Nick Foles at this stage of his, his age and his lack of experience. Even though, again, Super Bowl MVP, hats off to him. But wow, that's incredible.
Well, and we alluded to what the Steelers lost in Brown, Jesse James, Le'Veon Bell, who they allowed to become a free agent. Now, the Ravens have lost C.J. Mosley, although technically they could re-sign him. They didn't franchise him. And Terrell Suggs has informed the team he's leaving and is reportedly going to sign with the Arizona Cardinals. So
don't forget about Eric Weddle.
The
quarterback of the defense, safety.
So
he's gone.
You lost something at every level for the Ravens that was outstanding as well.
Yeah, it certainly appears that things are falling into place for the Cleveland Browns, even if the Browns were not to do anything in free agency and only were relying on, let's say, the Vernon trade and then the draft and maybe another marginal pickup. They're still gaining on the division because the Ravens are offloading, the Steelers are offloading, even though I still think the Steelers have talent and so do the Ravens. I don't think you just automatically dismiss them. And then the Bengals aren't doing much of anything. I'm reading where Bengals fans are furious with the franchise for re-signing Bobby Hart.
Croft left. Their tight end Tyler Croft left.
Yeah, so the door seems to be open for the Browns to not just scratch into the playoffs via the wild card, but potentially win the division. And I know that's – I want to pump the brakes a little bit because – a couple years ago, they were 0-16. Last year, still sub-500. Piled up wins against bad teams. So it's hard to anoint the Browns with anything. But when you see what's happening and you know that the Browns have Mayfield and they have Garrett and they have Vernon and they have Ward and on down the line, all of a sudden you say, well, maybe they can win the division.